Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hi, this is Lauren Coleman.
Lauren Coleman?
Yes, in Maine.
The Lauren Coleman?
The Lauren Coleman.
Hey.
A good friend of John Keel's, and I want to congratulate you for having him on.
Oh.
This is great. I just wrote a book to honor him called Mothman and Other Curious Encounters, all about the Mothman.
Do you have any good pictures of Mothman?
Yes. If you actually go to the front of my website, www.laurencoleman, L-O-R-E-N,
yeah,
Coleman.com.
Okay.
You'll see the cover of my book. And actually, I was just in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, where this happened about 3 weeks ago, re-interviewing the witnesses again and talking to people. They looked at the cover of my book, and they actually said, this is the best representation of what they actually saw. A 7-foot-tall creature, no head, gigantic wings, huge red eyes. In fact, so red and so scary that sometimes that's all the people saw. John will tell you about that, but it's just an amazing story.
Well, then I'm not going to like this. For some reason, Lauren, and I don't know what that is, I've gone all the years of my life only hearing references to the Mothman prophecies and never really knowing a doggone thing about the Mothman.
Well, it is interesting that here we have a case that's waited 35 years to really come out in the open. John did a great job with his 1975 book, and finally Hollywood's discovering it. But, 2002 is definitely going to be the year of the Mothman.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
You think the Mothman is going to be like the new Chupacabra?
Well, I think so. I think what's happening is cryptozoologists, paranormalists, ufologists who have really ignored John's work are all of a sudden going to have to set up and look at what's going on. You had a 13-month period of an incredible vortex of phenomena. UFOs, men in black, poltergeist activity.
Do you think that Mothman is paranormal to the degree that it might be coming through one of these holes?
I definitely think that John's concept of window areas is something we have to not ignore.
That's what he believes. You see, I don't know anything about any of this, so he does believe that there are kind of windows then.
Oh yeah, he invented the whole concept of window areas, and I think that's something that we have to look at. There's almost as if sometimes the window opens very widely, and a lot of different phenomena comes through, and sometimes it's very narrow, and you just have UFO flaps. But my whole Chapter 9 in my book is called Windows in honor of John's whole concept there.
Are you two friends?
Oh, yeah, we're great friends. I just talked to him today, and, I went to his birthday party a few years ago. Yeah,
no
John and I are great. We've been great friends since the 60s.
Well, it's my understanding he's a young 80 years old. Is that right?
No, he's only 72. He's just a very, very young man.
72. All right. Mm-hmm. And he began writing about all of this how long ago, Lauren?
When he was just in his 20s, he started doing radio shows on UFOs. And he was a screenwriter and a TV writer, and then slowly over the years started writing for some of the men's magazines, which were pretty serious in the old days when the True magazine and different things like that were the only places that you could really talk about Fortean and UFO phenomena. And John did quite a bit of that, and then he came into some advances here and there to do some wonderful kind of books like UFOs, Trojan Horse, or...
Well, Lauren, this description really sounds to me like, what a lot of people would call an evil entity.
Yeah, well, I think that John certainly, as the lightning rod for Mothman, has been able to really define Mothman and some of the strange phone calls and entities and all of the things that he'll tell you about tonight, as it's really...
I guess I'm asking your opinion. There are a lot of religious folks out there, and they're going to think this is a demon. It sounds like a classic demon.
It's funny. You can look at it as a demon. I've interviewed witnesses because if you look at Mothman beyond the context of Point Pleasant, people have seen winged creatures all over the world and all over the United States. Some people describe these as angels. So you can look at it in two different perspectives. Some young kids that I've interviewed that seen these things without any heads and with wings have talked about angels. Other people who are chased in the middle of the night by a huge red-eyed creature have a much more sinister feeling.
My problem with this is that angels, the way I think of angels, they definitely don't have red eyes. Angels couldn't have red eyes.
Well, I
don't think they could.
No, I understand what you're saying. So generally most of the people who talk about Mothman give it a very sinister feeling, yes.
Has Mothman ever been known to physically assault humans in any way?
Mothman itself, no. But people have do the linkage, of course, between Mothman and the collapse of the Silver Bridge at the end of the 13th month, and that's a whole different story. But physically, Mothman never touched any of these witnesses, never, scraped against them, never did any of that.
Did any of these witnesses ever die of heart attacks?
Not as far as I know.
Of course, then I guess they wouldn't be witnesses. They'd just be dead.
In 1977 in Illinois, of course, you have the classic case of, in Lawndale, Illinois, of young man Marlo Lowe, who was picked up by one of these things and carried for 10 feet. But in Illinois, of course, they're called Thunderbirds, so it's just the special name of Mothman that's kept Mothman kind of in a different place.
Well, Mothman almost sounds like a comic book hero.
Well, it was named a copy editor in an Ohio newspaper. Decided that he loved the series on TV called Batman, and he came up with the name Mothman. The witnesses down there called it Big Bird or the Big Giant Bird.
Yeah, Big Bird. That's good. All right. Well, listen, John A. Keel is coming up next. Lauren, thank you.
Sure, nice talking to you.
Boy, am I glad you got through, my friend.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Good night. I hate red eyes. I really hate red eyes. Angels with red eyes? I don't think so. John A. Keel, arguably the world's foremost researcher into the paranormal, has traveled extensively to over 40 countries, investigating the unknown for almost 50 years. His voracious curiosity manifested early. He read everything, particularly science, travel, humor, and magic. When 12, he had one of his first brushes with the paranormal, an attic poltergeist that responded to his knocking. We'll ask about that. By the time he was 14, he was renting space, writing a column for the Perry Herald, publishing the school paper, and contributing to magazines. Oh, my. At 16, he was publishing a science fiction magazine. Fanzine, actually. The Lunarite, I believe it is, and had sold a piece to the New Yorker. Wow. In the 1950s, he worked for the Department of the Army as Chief of Continuity and Production for the American Forces Network, AFN in Frankfurt. That's Germany. In 1952, wrote and produced the radio program Things in the Sky about unidentified flying objects that was heard by millions throughout Europe. Author now of 30 books since Jadoo, I guess, his 1957 autobiography. Keel's groundbreaking books have been published in over 20 countries and include many of ufology's most acclaimed titles: Operation Trojan Horse, Our Haunted Planet, and The Mothman Prophecies. His incredible Mothman investigations are the subject of a major motion picture starring a Keel-inspired character played by Richard Gere, all slated to be released on January 25th. That, in most time zones, would be today. Keel has written articles that have appeared in many leading periodicals, including Playboy, Saga, Fate. His monthly Beyond the Known column is a popular Fate feature. John was recently the subject of Secrets of the Shadow World. Oh my, what a title. A feature-length documentary acclaimed by acclaimed director George Cukor, who premiered at Lincoln Center in New York City. His extensive television appearances